This is an interesting team to talk about. The Los Angeles Clippers. Okay. Last year, they were 44-38, ranked 5th in the West, and they lost in the first round. Yeah, they lost in the first round. And that was really because of Kawhi and PG, who were both injured. So when Kawhi was playing, they actually had a chance to win the series. But then Kawhi got injured and it all went away. Westbrook tried, but it wasn't enough. This upcoming season, my projected record for them, or at least my projected record for them was 41-41, 9th in the West. That could definitely change because there's been a few changes in the past few days of the NBA, and I made these predictions a month ago. So any predictions that I make in one of these videos, don't take them too much to heart because a lot has happened since I made these predictions, and my predictions are subject to change because my opinions can change on teams like that, so never know. I mean, not like I'm not changing my opinions on teams every day, but you get what I'm saying. It's like I can think one thing about a team one week, and then the next week I'd be like, oh, maybe I could hear a report that comes out, I'd be like, oh, maybe this is gonna, and my phone is low battery. Maybe this is gonna affect the team. So with this Clippers team, their starting lineup is Russ, PG, Kawhi. Is it Marcus Morris? No way to rank Marcus Morris. They might put Norman Powell in the starting lineup. I don't know why I put Marcus Morris in the starting lineup. And Zubac. And then if you look at the rest of the team, you have great depth, honestly. I really like this team's depth. And the Clippers' depth has always been good. You have Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, Nick Batum, Mason Plumlee, Jason Preston, Brandon Boston Jr., Amir Coffey, Kenyon Martin Jr., Robert Covington. This team has great depth, and it's always had great depth. Ever since the Kawhi and PG era started, they've really been one of the deepest teams in the league. And now they have, it's very, I guess one thing I want to talk about first is the new rule. Everybody heard about it, and everybody knew, or a lot of people thought it was targeting the Clippers. NBA Board of Governors approved the new Player Participation Policy, PPP, crazy name, on Wednesday in order to combat the rise of load management and ensure that basketball's biggest names are on the court throughout the season. The new rules, which have replaced the Player Resting Policy, PRP, introduced in 2017, are intended to promote player participation in the NBA's full 82-game regular season and prevent teams from resting more than one star on any given night, often referred to as load management. The PPP defines a star player as any individual who has been named to the All-NBA or All-Star teams in any of the previous 3 seasons. This means that the Boston Celtics, for example, are required to make at least one of their elite duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown available for every game across the regular season, providing neither are injured. It also dictates that uninjured eligible players are required to suit up for nationally televised games, as well as the entirety of the new in-season tournament, which will begin in early November. It also prevents the shutdown of star players towards the end of the season. Across previous years, teams have kept their best players out of action for the final stretch of the regular season and have been accused of tanking or deliberately not trying their best to win games, in an attempt to maximize their chances of getting a higher pick in the NBA draft. And blah, 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 blah. Teams may also maintain a balance between the number of one-game absences for a star player in road games and the number of one-game absences for a star player in home games, with a preference under the policy for such absences to occur in home games. Pretty much, it's about resting players, and it's pretty much saying, we don't want you to rest your players when fans are coming out to watch you every single night, and this may be the only chance they ever get to see you in their entire lives, so we want you to play basketball. And the rule obviously makes a lot of sense because there has been a lot of player resting in the past few years specifically, and it's gotten to a point where Kawhi Leonard really is a guy known for his load management so much. Is one of the main reasons lots of guys who are ranking him on NBA lists have him out of the top 10. Me personally, I still have him at top 10 because when he plays, he's a top 10 player in basketball. But the thing is, he doesn't play that often. And that may be because of injuries, but it may also be because of load management, because he's resting. And there was a report that Kawhi, or not a report, but Media Day was, I think, today, and Kawhi said the new rules aren't gonna make him play more games. And I think where he was trying to get at with that is he's getting injured. That's why he's playing less games. So he's still gonna get injured regardless. It's not like he can just play when he's injured. He's gonna get injured. He's an injury-prone player. So when you look at it from that perspective, the rules don't really do much, but it still could help a lot of the teams in the league, or not really help a lot of teams in the league, but it could help the entertainment factor of the NBA, really. And I'm not here to talk about the rule, I'm here to talk about the Clippers, but I'm really just bringing this up because I haven't talked about it much, and the Clippers are the main team that was targeted with this rule. So, you know what I'm saying? But let me get back to actually talking about the team itself. Last year in the playoffs, we saw Russell Westbrook, whose value was in the dumps after what he did in the Lakers. He got traded to the other locker room with the Clippers, and man, Russ, he redeemed himself. Everybody was talking about him after what he did in that first round against the Suns. And people were like, oh yeah, Russ is back, he's back to this level, he's gonna be good next season. And this is where I'm kinda like, I don't know, because Russ, of course, is great. If he's back, that's amazing. I wanna see him playing at the level that we know he can play at. But we can't base everything that we know about Russ off of 4 games. Because of course, it's great that Russ is playing well in those 4 games, and the playoffs are especially when it matters most for the NBA teams to win a championship. But I don't know if the play of how he performed in those 4 games was enough to convince me, or those 4 games was enough to convince me that he's gonna be able to do that all season. So that's why I'm kind of questionable about it. And I mean, if he is, this team's looking a lot better. But a good thing about Westbrook is he doesn't get injured often, as far as I know. And I'm pretty sure in the past 2 seasons, he's been a pretty healthy guy. So when you have a team with with 2 injury-prone stars, it's good to have a guy like Westbrook who can consistently come out every night and, you know, be there. But I'm also wondering about how the system's gonna work. And in theory, it actually makes sense because there's a lot of good shooters in this Clippers team. And you have Russell Westbrook, who's not the best shooter, but he can definitely handle the ball for you. And when you put shooters around Russ, I mean, this team isn't built for Russ, but it's actually a pretty good fit. And we saw in the playoffs with the Clippers, Russ was doing well, and they were getting close to winning some of those games with Nick Batum even hitting some shots, doing his thing, Bones Highland doing his thing. But they were facing against Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, so they didn't win. But when we see that coming to the regular season, even without PG and Kawhi, that's looking good. And when PG and Kawhi are there, we've seen that this Clippers team can be a top team in the West. So when you think about it from that perspective, the Clippers are looking great. And especially with the depth that they have, I really like it because this Clippers team is nice, man. I put in my notes, I can read out some of the good things I said about them. Great depth, as always. Pretty good shooters. If they stay healthy, they're good. And I said, how good can Russ be? The one thing I did say about them is they are kind of small because they are a slightly smaller team compared to a lot of other teams in the league. But at the same time, that's not really an issue for them because they have Zubac and they have Mason Plumlee. Compared to a Warriors team where their biggest player is Kevon Looney, they at least do have some big men who can play in the post. So that's something. Really, the biggest thing with this team is Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. if they can stay healthy. Because when those two are healthy, this team is amazing. When those two are healthy, this team is definitely a top team in the West. And if those two can stay healthy, I can definitely see them being a lot higher than where I have them. If I had to put a floor for the team, it's probably like a 10 seed. Or maybe I put 10 seed. But if I had to put a ceiling for the team, they could legit be a 2-3 seed. A 3 seed. That's the ceiling for them, in my opinion. And that's how it is for a lot of these teams in this little section for the West. Because they can definitely be up there. They have the potential to be up there. But there's certain factors about each team that makes me bring some down more than others. And that's with the Clippers, where if they can stay healthy, 100% they up there. But if they don't stay healthy, they might move down a few spots. And even last year, we were able to see when they didn't stay healthy, when Kawhi and PG were injured for good amounts of the season, the Clippers were still able to reach the 5 seed. And I mean, it was like barely a 5 seed because it was a close race in the last few games of the season from like 5 to 9. But they still were able to get up there. So I could definitely realistically see. And when I say they're the 9 seed, it's not even that much of a difference because when I ranked these teams, the team I had in the 5 seed, let me find it, only had 5 more wins than the Clippers. Or at least projected wins than the Clippers. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's not that crazy to have the Clippers down this low. The only questions I really have about this team are injury problems and injury problems. That's really it. Because honestly, I really like this team. Bones Highland off the bench is a great guy. I love Norman Powell. He used to play for the Raptors. He was cooking there. Nick Batum's a good guy, even though he is getting older. We'll have to see what happens with him, but he's a pretty good guy. And this whole core has just been good. We just gotta see, because PG and Kawhi have been here for the past, this is their 4th year of their duo, I think. Yes. Yeah. This is the 4th year of their duo. And they haven't done anything except one conference finals appearance. And Kawhi wasn't even there for that. Kawhi was injured. So this is the year when you'd want to see the Clippers do more, but it's not like it's an urgent thing for them to do more. Of course, you want to see Westbrook, PG win a ring. You want to see Kawhi maybe get another one, but like, it's not especially a team that I'm like, I need to see something. I know this team can be good. It's just to get injured. So they always have that excuse. And eventually, there's some people in NBA fandom that are like, oh, that's an excuse. Yeah, I don't like the fact that they're always injured. You can't really control injuries. So I kind of side with Kawhi in a way with this, because you can't really control the injuries that you have. You can't really, load management was a way to control his injuries. What the Raptors did, they load managed a lot in the season with Kawhi, and they were able to play him in the playoffs, and he was playing at his best. And now with the load management rules, if injuries affect them a lot more, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't be a big thing if they were ranked this low, because even though they are a good team when they're healthy, and they are a good team, it's just if they aren't healthy, I don't know what's gonna happen. And even though they can lose PG, they can lose Kawhi, they still have good depth. They still have guys like Bones Highland, Norman Powell, and Russ, who can come out here and win games for you sometimes. But we'll see what happens, man. One guy who I wanted to mention on the team, who I actually like, is Brandon Boston Jr. He's sitting at like the end of the bench here, and he's a guy who I wish would get a bigger opportunity, because I actually really like his game. I've seen him playing for the Clippers sometimes, and I'd be like, okay, that guy's kind of nice. But this is a deep team. They might play him if there's an injury, but we'll see what happens. I just hope he gets some sort of opportunity, because I like him. And that's about all I have to say. Tell me what you think down below in the comments about the Clippers, man, because I want to hear your guys' thoughts on how the Clippers are going to do this season. Of course, they have a high ceiling, like a lot of these other teams in the West, but their floor is definitely like a solid 10 seed, because if they're healthy, they're definitely up there. If they're not healthy, they're like a mid-tier team. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. If you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Comment down below any tips, tricks, or topics you haven't talked about on this channel. And turn on notifications so you get notified about each new video I upload. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.